You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Sheldon Primus.
Welcome to the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus, where we blend safety smarts with business brilliance and a pinch of Sheldon's signature wit. Whether you're a safety pro, a fresh-faced consultant, or just safety curious, get ready for a show that'll educate, entertain, and elevate your safety game. Let's dive into the art of consulting with your safety Sherpa himself, Sheldon Primus.
This episode is powered by Safety FM.
All right, so that's the answer. I want you guys to be able to hear that one before we even started any more conversations, because it's the basis of what I set up. So if you didn't get the gist, this is the gist. Democratic administration, OSHA, EPA would be more compliance enforcement. And if there's a Republican administration, these agencies will revert to compliance assistance, relying on the businesses to regulate more of themselves and having the regulators do much more than big compliance activities. That's really the gist, if you would. So again, you want to go back, listen to that episode. So that got me thinking, now that I had my hypothesis substantiated in the way I did, what are some of these workplace fatalities and trends and everything else? So there's a couple of things that was going through my brain. I needed to cross-reference a few things. I have already told you guys that I've been using the OpenAI product, ChatGPT, to help me think stuff out. So a lot of this was assisted with chat, so I want to let you guys know that right up front, because one of my projects is working on an AI manual, if you would, for our facilities, for our workplace. So I know the importance of going ahead, let you guys know stuff ahead of time and saying, hey, hey, by the way, AI has been helping me out with this. So for all you've probably heard my AI conversation before, and we're going to have this conversation later, as not later today, but later in this year. But usually just think of it as an assistant, and it gets you started, and then you check behind the work. The data and stuff that I have is coming from pages of BLS reports, some safety publications that I listen to and read, and then also it's coming from the OSHA data set, including the OSHA budget. So I know that these numbers are solid, but I just, ethically, I believe that if you use stuff like AI, just go ahead and disclose it. Are you guys going to think of me bad? Go ahead. I'm going to put that out. And what do you guys think about the way that I'm using AI in this application? So what you're going to do is email me at sheldon@sheldonprimus.com. So sheldon@sheldonprimus.com. Let me know what you think. Might as well do a survey of this, right? And let's talk of this together. All right, so from 2001, Bush administration, fatalities are right around 5,900. Fast forward a few years into the Obama administrations. Let's see. Yeah, that's going to be Obama administrations there. 5,800, and it starts. And then, that's 2006. So you guys work out the administrations. 2010, it goes down drastically to 4,600. 2015, it goes to 4,800. 2019, it goes to 5,300. So we had a increase up from 2015 to 2019. That's pre-COVID too. That's a big jump. So that might be, if I'm recalling right, that looks like it's the first Trump administration. Well, that is a big jump. Okay, then we go back down in 2020, which is a COVID year, so that's actually odd that we're going back down in 2020. And then a big jump back up in 2023 to 5,200. So from the last several years, over 20 years, we start at 5,900 fatalities, and then we are now at 5,200. So we were kind of in that spectrum, with the lowest being 4,600 in the year 2010. All right, so that's one of the things that we want to look at. The next thing is non-injured cases per every full-time employees, 100 full-time employees, and these are the rates that will give you for injury rates coming from BLS. 2003 was 5 cases per 100 workers, and these are non-fatal injuries in private industries as a total recordable case. 4.4 in 2006, goes down to 3.5, so we're trending good. In 2010, 2015, we're down to 3.0, 2019, 2.8, 2020, 2.7, 2023, 2.6. So now we can truly see that recordable cases for full-time workers literally dropped in half in 20 years. From 5 cases per 100 workers to now 2.6 cases per 100 workers. So that's awesome. Another area that we kind of look at as they call these lagging indicators. These are things that are happening. So across the board, this is basically from one administration going to the next, switching hands from Democrat to Republican. It looks like the days away from work cases, again, this is incident rates per 100 full-time workers, 1.5, 1.3, 1.1, 1.0, 0.9, 1.2, 0.9. That time span was 20 years, and it looks like we have gradual decreases in the 20-year span from 1.5 cases to 0.9 cases. So we have broke the 1 person per 100 full-time worker. We get below that, but the lowest we got was 0.9. So again, 20-year period spanning Republican and Democratic administrations. So that's, the data itself. So now here's the activity that went to influence that data. And I do have to give you guys just a normal, crazy disclaimer, just in case no one knows. Here's my disclaimer. I do know that all the numbers I'm giving you here, I'm saying data, but I don't want you to think it's data in a vacuum. For us, our data, when I'm talking about worker safety data, EPA data is different. But if I'm talking about worker safety data, that represents someone who had an event. It could have been all the way to a fatality, or it could have been something where they had a non-fatal injury but just had days away from work. But it's someone who went through something. So I don't want that to get lost in the way that I'm flippantly going through this data, but I do want to give you that disclaimer so that you know that it's not lost on me that this information is truly people who have been getting injured or a fatality. So, disclaimer. Just want to make sure, right? We, again, our job, we're very empathetic in our job, so one of the main things that we got to do is truly make sure that we think about the person related to our numbers, the empathy side. All right, so let's go through some OSHA and EPA enforcement between the different administrations. Under the Bush administration, 2001 to 2009, we've got an emphasis on voluntary compliance and looking for industrial partnerships. OSHA had a 33% decline in inspections during this period, and the regulatory enforcement was less aggressive than the previous years. And that's going to be judged by the actual citations as written. And you could see citations and citation types written. You can also see it by enforcement units, too. Enforcement units are actually, in that time period, enforcement units weren't made yet. They were made in the Obama administration, so you wouldn't be able to check it there. But Obama administration starts in 2009 to 2017. Stronger enforcement, some regulatory expansion. You saw the rules on silica and beryllium during that time period. The fines went up quite a bit. The reason why is the way that they priced out fines changed during that time period. So you saw a lot of big differences with OSHA and regulations in that time period. 2017 to 2021, President Trump in that time period had an emphasis on deregulation. He had a rule that for every new regulation, you had to take out existing regulation. And it was, I forgot the ratio, but it wasn't a 1-to-1 ratio. I think it was a 1-to-3 or something, 1-to-4 ratio. I can't remember. But for one new regulation, you had to take out 4 regulations. So that's clearly an emphasis on deregulation. Voluntary compliance was pretty much the mindset during that time period. For the EPA, the enforcement activity dropped 52% from 2007 to 2018. So that's a big time period to go down. Some of that time period is going to be reflected in the Obama administration. So you will see that there was a trend, if you would, to start deregulating a little, but it got significant during the Trump administration. What OSHA was doing is, during that time period, this is a Trump administration policy, walking and working surfaces standard came out. That was a big one. That one was in limbo for quite a while. The silica rule started to be enforced during the Trump administration. HASCOM had a proposed update. That one was 2021. And I don't know. I think it's still coming. I should look at the regulatory agenda, but I think that one is still coming. I should know that offhand, but I actually don't. But I think it's still coming. For the EPA side, the deregulation under Trump went over to the deregulation. There was a repeal of the Clean Water Act in 2019. There's Affordable Clean Energy Act was in 2019. So that actually was a replacement for the Obama-era Clean Power Plan. So it kind of like it was more for emission control. So it just kind of regulated and managed, I would say, the regulation over how much greenhouse gases can be emitted by certain companies, certain industries. There was also a revision in the lead and copper rules. So there was some stuff there that was pretty good. The Biden administration, they started getting into enforcement, and again, they being a Democratic administration, for those of you that are familiar with presidential affiliations, the U.S. presidential affiliations, Joe Biden was a Democrat, and in his administration, they started working on a heat stress standard, but they didn't finish it. They did actually implement a lot of penalties in EPA and OSHA. So you'll see the fines go up quite a bit. And you could actually look at a summary. Every year, OSHA puts out a summary page of activities. So you would have to go to OSHA.gov, and it's on... might be under data statistics, somewhere in there. So far, this is kind of bearing out to what Jordan Barab was telling us in the interview, right? It looks like the actual activity is matching the thought process that the Republican administration is going to get more business-friendly activities and regulations, if any, and under a Democratic administration, there'll be more, governmental regulation. So just want to tell you guys, hopefully it's coming off this way, that I'm just telling you the administration's as it is, and I'm not leaning one way or the other. It's just, how do you survive, right? So let's remind you guys of some of these notable cases in the different administrations. So if you remember, BP, Texas City Refinery, had an explosion that killed 15 workers and injured 170. That was in the Bush administration, 2005. So in that case, you really had OSHA start focusing in on high-profile cases that would lead to catastrophic events, and there were some emphasis on process safety management, emphasis on combustible dust. So you'll start seeing that emphasis standards right around this time period. Another thing during the Bush administration was that the Congress and the President and the Senate actually repealed the Clinton-era ergonomic rules. So if you did not know, there was actual ergonomic ruling in OSHA, and every president has the opportunity, or at least has the availability to take out any new laws that were put into place within 6 months of when they take office. So therefore, what that would mean is if President Biden did, let's see, we're in February now, so let's see, January, December, November, October, September, and then anything, I guess, August, September area that the Biden administration put into law, if a majority of Congress and a majority of Senate rules and votes that, hey, this rule is something we don't agree with, and we want to repeal this rule, and then they bring it over to the president and he signs that, then that will take that rule off the books in its format for good. You can't actually put it back into place. That's called a Congressional Review Act. So what happened in the Bush administration is they did a Congressional Review Act to repeal the ergonomic rule. So as that ergonomic rule stand and it was written, I should say, it's gone. You can't bring it back in its original form. You have to kind of make it like an ergonomic rule for general industry or an ergonomic rule for agriculture. Something like that might be the way you could revive it. So that was under the Bush administration. They also had some asbestos litigation too during that time period. With the Obama administration, it again had some regulations with silica beryllium standards were updated. The inspections were 40 to 45,000 inspections during that time, 7-8 year period. And then they did have some really large penalties administered. Trump administration, the President Trump administration had the inspections reduced to 862 inspections in 2020, and in 2016 there was 1,000, about roughly. So the inspections were actually fewer than 32,000 to 35,000. So again, I told you guys the Obama administration was 40 to 45,000 annual inspections. The Trump administration went down to 32, averaged out. The Biden administration numbers are still out, but it looks like it's up to about 31,000. So it's not the Obama numbers, but it is right about the same as you would for the Trump administration numbers. So it looks like the inspections were, and honestly, it looked like OSHA. If you look at the website, the last 4 years, they were trying to hire. They had full-time equivalent hours that were equal to, in the inspection categories, it was equal to the Trump administration. But it actually looks like some of the final numbers might be closer to even than we would think. There was also a Congressional Review Act that was done with the electronic record keeping. Actually, it wasn't a Congressional Review Act with an electronic record keeping rule. It was just OSHA just took it out. But when the Biden administration came back, they put in the electronic record keeping rule, which everyone is dealing at the time of this recording. It's February 3rd. So people are actually starting to put in their data into the injury tracking application. So if you have to do that, that rule now requires you to put in more information. You got to do your 300A summary log and your 301 first notice of injury style report. So that means OSHA has a lot of data related to specific cases. And now when that data goes to your area office, and if they see an increase in that data over a certain amount of years, usually about 3, it's going to trigger some sort of inspection. That was something that was originally intended to go into the change in the record-keeping law back in the first Trump administration. That OSHA said, nope, we're not doing it. And they repealed that portion, but they kept the 300A summary log that everyone would have to submit electronically, because that helps with a lot of things. So now that we have to do all 3 of those forms, that's an indication of more regulation. And that is, go back to the Jordan Barab interview. He talks about that. So you guys are able to see the true intent of OSHA on that one. Some of the EPA things that happened during the Bush administration, mercury rule was in place. There was a Massachusetts versus EPA in 2007 where states sued the EPA for failing to regulate greenhouse gases under the Clean Air Act. So at that point, the Supreme Court ruled that the gases are pollutants that the EPA has the authority to regulate. All right. However, there's a new rule out there that kind of flips this over. This isn't the exact rule, and I'm going to talk about that coming up in a little bit. And this is the overturning of this one rule that basically says that the regulatory agency has the actual right to make regulations, kind of like that ruling that I just read for you guys from the Supreme Court, Massachusetts versus EPA, where the EPA in that case was ruled that that the EPA has the authority to regulate however they see fit that type of pollutant. The new overturning of one of the Supreme Court previous rules means that now legislation can be challenged in court by the definition of a legislation. If it's too vague, then the court will make its interpretation instead of the lawmakers with their scientists making it. Now, that's the intent here. All right, you guys got me. I was trying not to say the Chevron deference case that was overturned. I was going to save that up for later on. But yes, that is an important thing that we do need to discuss. However, we did enough today. So when we come back, I'm going to pick up on the thought we just left off on. I'll mention the Chevron deference and let you know what is that consideration and what does that mean altogether. But overall, we're doing pretty good. I hope you guys are getting some information on this. Don't forget that I'm putting together everything that you're hearing here, and I'm going to put it into a format and trying to decide if it's PDF or if I should go ahead and get it in a book format. But it is just a nice data overview of everything that happened over those 4 administrations. George W. Bush, into Obama, into Trump, into Biden, and that leaves us to where we are right here, back to Trump. So just want to at least give you guys some history, right? But either way, we're going to use this to get smarter about our government. For those of you guys who are U.S. based, those of you that are listening to this that aren't U.S. based, thank you for hanging in there with us. And now you get to understand some of the nuances with government work with the U.S. system. So when you branch out into coming into the U.S., you kind of at least have a little heads up on how the system works. So hopefully that'll be beneficial for you. But for everyone else, go get them.
That's a wrap for today's safety show. Remember, safety isn't just about hard hats and caution signs. It's about business smarts too. Thanks for joining us on the Safety Consultant Show with Sheldon Primus. Until next time, stay safe, stay savvy, and keep consulting like a boss. Go get 'em. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast or broadcast are those of the host and its guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within the past hour, only examples. It should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the positions of the company. No part of this podcast or broadcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast or broadcast, Sheldon Primus.
This episode has been powered by Safety FM.
Are you ready to make a difference? Introducing the Safety Consultant Blueprint course. Unlock your potential as a safety consultant. Learn the skills, strategies, and ethics to create safer workplaces for your very own client. From risk assessment to client acquisition, we've got you covered. Become a safety consultant and open doors to being your own boss. Join us and be the hero of workplace safety. Enroll today. Safety starts with you. Take the first step now. Visit our website and enroll in the Safety Consultant Blueprint course. Empower businesses. Protect lives. SafetyConsultantBlueprint.com.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.